everything is like one. Let me just say it right off. It just forced me to do a lot of studying, especially about Indies urgent. Do some research. Well, I've done the research, and plenty has come out since then. Also, that even is more confirmed that bottom line, gender ideology is the most misogynistic, homophobic philosophy to come down the pike in many a time long year. And the thing is, it has been seemingly embraced by the LGBT community, or at least they've snuck into it. They're being ostracized because people say this isn't what we fought for. What the hell are you doing? And you get a big thing, gays against groomers and LGBT without the teeth. They're breaking the whole thing. Support of gay rights and gay marriage has dropped precipitously because of these idiots' actions. And you think about it, we've gone from Lady Gaga, born that way, to born that way, but we can fix it, which is really rather horrible. If you think about it, no longer are you just the person that you are. Now it's like there's something wrong with you, and this is where I think we might have a thing when Rob Burnett is kind of thinking, well, it's possible someone was born with the wrong brain. It's like, all right, that may be fine in theory, looking at it from a science fiction fan's aficionado's point of view. Theoretically, yeah, you could, but realistically, the actual application of that is probably the cruelest thing you can do to a kid who's going through puberty, who's already mixed up about what's happening to them, to tell them, yeah, guess what? You are born in the wrong body. You are fucked up. Not this is a natural process. Let it through. You're fine. You're perfect just the way you are. No, we're telling there really is something wrong with you. You're feeding into that insecurity they've already got. And your entire generation is being waylaid by this idiocy. And parents try, and you think they're not buying bull. Some of these communities, they want to be the latest one with a trans kid. Some of them have 2 or 3 trans kids. The odds of that actually happening in real life are, you're better off, being hit by a meteor twice, and then being struck by lightning, being wielded by a shark. Okay, that No, this is most hideous, and again, it's falling apart right before our very eyes. There's the Cass report, the WPATH file. It's all fun. There is no evidence backing it up, and the fact is, the whole thing was started by a loose group of pedophiles. Yes, I'm going to say the word, because that's what they were. John Money, what he did to the Reimer twins was, he should have been brought up on charges and executed, frankly. Because those 2 boys, they went through hell, and they both ended up killing themselves in the end. One by an overdose, one by going the Kurt Cobain method. He destroyed and lied about the findings. Oh, she's going to perfectly adjusted. No, he wasn't. That kid was miserable the whole thing, and when they started talking about doing the further surgery, when he started hitting puberty, the kid threatened to kill himself. Right at the top of the building, he's going to throw himself off there if they even came near him. That's when the parents, okay, that's it. You're screwed. You're done screwing with my kid. And the whole thing goes back. It's like literal Nazi scientists started this whole thing rolling. People who these guys did experiments in the camps on this stuff, and where some of these first transition surgeons down, they're experimenting on the Jews and the other inmates in there. It is a sick. You just bother to take a look at what's going on and what these people are supporting, what they're aligned with. You're aligned with literal Nazi scientists. Never mind calling him like a Nazi. No, we're talking literal Nazis who started this whole thing. And Money and Alfred Kinsey, one of his little experiments was letting kids get them molested so he can monitor their orgasms. This is what started this shit, and this is what they're defending. But they want to be they want to be allies. They want to be. You're including people who are now trying to validate their perversions, their fetishes. Gay rights was never about the right to walk down the streets naked in front of kids. Quite the opposite. They're trying to do, we're normal people just like you. We just happen to, choose a different way, in the bedroom. But I know, a lot of gays are not exactly proud when Pride Week comes around because it turns into a freak show. When I was working at KGNU, I worked at Pride Fest, downtown in cities, Steph worked a couple of them. And yeah, there's a lot of nice, normal people who had me gay, but there's also a lot of freakazoids out there. Got a lot of old men in skirts. You should know better. For God's sakes, look at yourself in the mirror. You think you look like a woman? Go. For Christ's sakes. You're a wrinkly old man in a tube top on a miniskirt and a visible erection. Go the hell home. You do not belong in public. Yeah. But because this whole thing, it becomes a big thing. You want to be, and fundamental part of human nature is you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself. You want to be, and we all have some need to believe in something. It's just kind of fundamental in human nature. We want to believe in something, be it religion or in some militant atheist. It's all, all want to have something to hang our hat on and say, that's what I am. I'm a part of that bunch. Not many people can be, comfortable just being themselves. Hey, this is what I am. And that's kind of where fandoms come in. I'm a Trekkie. I'm a Doctor Who fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. You hook into these fandoms. Of course, the big problem with these fandoms is they tend to be populated by people who, a lot of times, don't fit in with the rest of society. So you get a higher percentage of borderline personalities. And I mean that just in people aren't quite all there. I'm not talking to formal diagnosis, but I think a lot of them probably do have the actual formal diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. So that's why, a lot of times, fights within fandom are far worse than what they really amount to. We've had blowouts over nothing. Steph, big thing because she followed a guy on Facebook who came up as a friend suggestion and suddenly got accused of trying to stalk somebody. No, they didn't know who the hell this guy was. He came up as a friend suggestion. And that got ridiculous. I don't know how many years later, about 5, 6, 7 years later, it's finally settled down. They're actually talking again. But you wonder why, certain fandoms are, because there are a lot of flaky people in fandom. Let's be honest here, okay? But as so fandom, but also these movements, these social trends, social contagions, whatever. You want to be a part of something, but and kind of why it sort of crystallized in with Indy, with my fascination on that one. Part of it is, again, I've been following her for a while and been in the community and interacted with her on chats and stuff. And the general sense at that point is she's too smart to fall for this. So I wonder and then suddenly it's like, what? How the hell do you? I mean, this goes against everything she had said before, where she just wanted to get back to the way things were before her life went to hell, with various incidences and traumas and whatever, and even then she complained about her therapists really weren't doing any damn good. All they make her question herself. Nobody was giving her anything to hang on. And things have just gotten progressive. She was diagnosed with borderline personality and OCD and PTSD. Laundry list. I think it may be a case they couldn't figure out what that was. Just throw the book at her. 5 or 6 different diagnoses. One of them's going to fit. This is part of the problem with human beings. Are very complex creatures. We don't fit very well we're all one-offs. We're all handmade. Okay, nobody comes off an assembly line. And so it's she kind of fits this one, but also a little bit of that. And so, and so lately it's been pushing a bit, part of my show is trying to, kind of counter love bomb, because that's one of the tactics the activists use. And it's classic cult indoctrination. It's not just how any cult draws in members and tries to keep them love bombing the hell out. Oh no, you're only safe with us. They're the enemy. They don't trust you. They'll kill you. It's a genocide. It's like, meanwhile, the only one doing the violence is the trans. It's like reality be damned. No, just believe us. Don't believe them. And again, that's one thing that in her favor is she said that she doesn't really like the community, doesn't like the community either. And there's been a few things where where she's talking about she doesn't want to get directed at me, trying to be, but also telling these other guys shut the fuck up. I'm not going to do that. I don't want the medical thing. So everybody in both sides, leave me the fuck alone. But it's also what's a little disturbing when we start talking about getting back and going to a clinic to actually starting hormones therapy. Again, blatantly contradicting things she did before, where she doesn't want all those side effects. Now she's going for hormones. And again, there's been some theory that there's a little bit of grift going on because that's where the money's coming. If the people who want the trans are throwing money at you, she'll play along and do the trans thing. So going to act making the first steps of getting the hormones, but it's like no, and then the freak the anxieties kick in. It's like the anxieties are saving her ass. She knows damn well what's going to happen if she goes on hormones. It'll destroy her body, will rip itself apart from the inside, and she'll get all the negative side effects before she ever sees what she's. The only reason she would want the only good thing she sees in hormones is trying to build this muscle mass. But that's way down, if at all. Because first thing that's going to happen, the body hair loss. They're destroying her voice, and she's very, very fond of her singing voice. And that's the most, because that again, all these changes will be permanent. They don't go away when you go off the hormones. They might lessen a bit, but the body hair will be a permanent thing. The aches, it'll be trying to rebuild her skeletal structure. That's going to be permanent. There's no going back on that. So it'll be constant aches and pains. What it does to the reproductive system is also permanent and highly destructive. They're talking about yanking out the body part, laying out the baby making parts, and then it'll be because no, they're yanking them out now because they're killing you. It's not a matter of you don't want to ever have a kid. It's like, no, this is now turning cancer. I want to yank them out now. It's like, no, the clitoris does not become a penis, but the hormones try to make it into one. So it will no longer stay behind the sheath. It'll stick out about the size of your thumb in extreme cases. And it's like, it's not a good look. You can find it on Pornhub. It's like, oh, God. And the clitoris is 100 times more sensitive than the penis. Penis is accustomed to being out and exposed and rubbed against things. Clitoris is not. So it's like constant pain, just trying to go about your day and wearing pants or anything covering things. Going to rub it, which may be painful. And the real cruel thing is while it's destroying, between the clitoris and the vaginal atrophy and other things, and it also drives the libido up. So that you want to sex more and more, but it's agony to do so. So it's a really cruel thing. And it's like, why would you even entertain the thought of going down that road? Again, all I can think of is make a half step, and then talking about doing it later, and also pushing back the top surgery for a few years because again, I don't know how much regret, how much really seriously trying to consider this stuff, but it's like she also has enough sense, that the second she starts doing anything radical medical thing, her chosen business of being a porn star will evaporate overnight. Because no one is going to want to pay to see what she's going to be turned into after all that. Double mastectomy scars are not attractive. They're not. It's hideous. It looks like you've been mauled by a bear. If it works. And there's a lot of complications. It's not a great success rate, okay? Especially when it's perfectly healthy. No, there is no excuse to be lobbing off perfectly healthy body parts for any reason. Not just for trans, but no. And it's just like, no, it's like, don't. And but yeah, that's why you're pushing her back. We got a couple of years because she can't afford to be out of service that long. It's going to take a couple of months to get over this, or even if there's no complication, and it's going to be, and definitely can't do it while because the hideous scars drains, you know. And it's a few pictures, fresh out of surgery. It's like, good God, and you wanted this? That's proof of somebody being psychotic. And she says she's not a self-harmer. Well, you're just subcontracting out to somebody else in that case. But again, this is what we are gotten to and what we are putting our kids into, this meat grinder. I was thinking, society reaches kind of peak depravity when you start sacrificing your kids. And this is what it is. It's the newfangled version of taking a little baby and sacrificing it to the ball or whatever. Look at the good old days where they take a big metal statue of ball or whatever, whatever, the prayed God, and take it and heat up the arms to where they're red hot. And then, they are just outstretched like this, kind of grasping thing. They'd have that. And then they would take the baby and place it in the arms of these metal arms that are heated up to about red hot high. And that's how you sacrifice. And imagine the screams of that child that is being cooked. Like I said, that is at the moment of peak depravity of the culture at that time, and we're practically at that point right now. People are sacrificing their kids to this idiotic ideology. Jazz Jennings has been sacrificed to this idiot. Oh, 2 years old. Bullshit at 2 years. 2 years old, this kid did not even, not a week had been said to be a Ninja Turtle. Okay. It's like there are a lot of cases, like, some kid, the Clyde saying he wanted to be a girl. And it took a little digging to find out the reason why he wanted to be a girl, because they had a little baby girl. And he was kids with little thing. And well, the little girl's getting all the attention. So I want to be a girl, get the attention back. This is the kind of rationale we are sacrificing our children over. And again, once upon a time, it's just kids. They'll get over it in a week. They'll be on to something else. But now these idiotic parents are taking it seriously. Which I think, if you want to stretch it back, that probably means the generation before failed them miserably. The fact that they brought up people who don't have enough sense to know when a kid is being a stupid kid. Another case of, Bill Maher being a bit of a prophet here. And kids are wise, they know themselves. Bullshit, kids are morons. They're gullible, easily think they, all the main thing is they want to please grown-ups. They want to make the, mom and dad happy. And that means putting on a dress and pretending to be a girl. Okay, we'll do that. We're talking kids that still believe in Santa Claus. You're going to tell them you might actually be the other gender. Okay. Kind of, the whole point of sending them to school is to teach them. My ex is saying the whole goal was to make her kids tolerable to other people. Yeah, Bow and Mulling. I didn't have the comments up. I was on back stuff. It's like, yeah, part of the whole thing of my fixation on India is like, no, you can't have this one. I'm drawing the line here. Everyone's got to, cause. Okay, no, this is where I draw the line. You can't have this one. No, this was a smart one. She was very smart, very, and that's, you suckered her in, then nobody's safe, I had to rant, I basically had to go off on a thing because things have been bugging me a little bit, but, and again, I can't address, again, I'm sure Indy's going to see this eventually because she, what I said, she eventually sees my stuff, but I can't directly contact her. I can't tag her because that'll be a violation of a little chat I had with her lawyer. But I did send her lawyer a bunch of stuff, and frankly, it was a bit of a relief because I finally had an adult to talk to. You know, yeah, I'm in need to do something for a while. You know, and let her lawyer know what my concerns are, where I was coming from, and my perspective on how this whole thing started. Yeah, it's about Indy. Yeah, man, granted, I kind of crossed the line in case because she'd been offline for about a week, no word on what was going on. And so I sent the cops over for a welfare check. Well, again, pushing the line there. I'll cop to that. Well, it turns out she was doing her taxes, Yeah, I know. And again, after talking, oh, she's fine, but she's running. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. I appreciate that. And then a little while, got a call from her lawyer. You and there had no more contact with my client. I said, okay, all right. And he wouldn't let me explain. He was issuing the order. No, you are now being told, do not contact my client or any client. Yeah. And again, that's why okay, fine. I will take this warning, and then was it any further stuff will be go through? Okay, fine. Then I'll do that. And I wrote up a very long, I figured, and treat it like a proper legal statement too. I put it in very exact detail of how this. Okay, I don't know what she's told him. I'm assuming just the crazy old stalker in Denver, trying to do something with her. I had to make this is how it started here. And I said I'd been a Vanderbilt for a while, and I'd been in the community for a while, and concerned about what thing. And then after a while, and my main thing was just trying to reestablish communication for a while, because I was not being given a reason why I was cut off, and that was I didn't do anything that egregious, I don't think. And laid out the whole thing of what the whole sequence of events of how in the course of talking to her in DMs about this. I did reach out to a doctor in Portland, actually, who has written a book or two. I'm not going to give the name because I'm not sure I got it right. But I reached out to her mainly to advise. And the thing is, I had to do it in public DMs because her DMs are closed, public posting. And it's there's a person I'm rather concerned with, and I'd like a professional opinion here. And thing is with the being thing, and including she basically got tagged, so maybe it got to her attention that way, or one of her associates / rumors brought it to her attention and putting a spin on it. He's trying to get you committed, like Eden. Eden was that was a male to female thing, which is a whole other issue, which I might get into later. But that one was a total shit show. Somebody did a commando raid on this, and they did an intervention. Poor schmuck ended up killing himself. But trying to spin it like that. And Indy went thermonuclear. What do you think I'm doing? And I said, sorry about a few of them, but she would not hear anything. And just cut me off and didn't bother, since. But the occasional dropping the block long enough to throw another, read the riot act at me again, then put the block back up. But it took a while to find the suss out what the hell was going on that side. Okay, I think I see where this is going here and how we got here. And then, but what's the latest up for the lawyers? And Ken, I feel I have been blocked unfairly and improper, and not on proper terms, because I know legally it doesn't matter. Which if she blocked, doesn't matter, just because you flipped the coin. But I felt that I had been blocked unfairly. I've not been given a fair hearing of what was going on and what I was trying to do. And saying, this is what, and feel free to take this to your client. Even though I know she's heard it before because I've said it before. But I'm just appreciating the fact that I'm actually dealing with an adult in the room and not an arrested adolescent. And that's let's be call a spade here. This is what she is right now. Between just the lifestyle that she's living and the constant pot use since the time she turned 18. That's like, we're not talking a lot of maturity here. And it's not a lifestyle that really, even requires a lot of maturity. fact, it probably works against you if it did. But I've also, in other, said other communications about concerns about our moderators and close hangers on, and how if they are, and connected to relevant tweets and other posts, that there have been a lot of threats of doxing made by, let's say, I'm seeing other ones in that crowd, and a Tumblr post of hers where say, oh, if they got the information because it was given to her, because my moderators have emails the moderator and Matt passed. I said, you realize what you just admitted to? That if they actually dox somebody with your blessing, you're just as guilty as they are. You just left yourself wide open for all kinds of liability if something fucking happens, and they can say it was because these guys doxed me. You might understand they've got, these WZ has gone very quiet, so maybe it's had some effect on that front. But it's kind of interesting. It's like I'm currently going through a bit of a copyright strike because my last affirmation stream did use a big chunk of one of her videos, but I can't really argue because I did use her audio and video. It's okay, fine, I'll buy it. It's still up on a couple other streams, but or on BitChute, but it's off on YouTube, and I'm got to slog through that until July. So but this is that's why again this is not really directed at her. It's a she's in part of it in periphery, and as part of the overall general thing of just how sick and depraved this whole situation is. Because we are, idiots don't realize they're cutting off their own family line. There's something Tim Pool says all the time. Ultimately, they're going to lose because they're cutting off their own bloodlines. They're working towards their own extinction because there's going to be no one to pass this on. Meanwhile, conservatives are having babies out the wazoo, raising conservative babies and conservative children to carry on their legacy, and it's just a matter of time before they end up, just dying off of their own accord. Because the far less are the ones who are sterilizing their kids and having abortions and whatever else, having sex in any way to possibly avoid a pregnancy. And guess what? You don't have any kids. There's one thing kind of bugs me, the fact that we can't have any kids at this point, not without some kind of intervention or going through some kind of third party. But I'm still wondering where this PayPal thing came from. But anyway. So as far as society at large, I'm not that worried because eventually it'll finally work its way out and we'll look back and wonder how the hell could we be so stupid. Right now we're looking at what is shaping up to be the biggest medical scandal of the past 100 years. I mean, it's making the lobotomy craze of the 30s and 40s look like you took too many aspirin, because we are ruining a generation with this idiocy, and it can't fall apart fast enough in my eyes. And unfortunately, as critical as I am of socialized medicine, this is really not a good statement for a private system because it's clearly the Western world, U.S. and is pretty much the lone holdout on doubling down on this, and the only thing is because of the money. Certain unethical doctors and therapists are making bank on this by convincing people that, you're trans, and then making them go through all these therapy and these medical procedures and hormones and surgeries. A phalloplasty, that's about $30,000. Vaginoplasty, probably similar. Mastectomy is a few $1,000s. And of course, how many hours of going through therapy, these idiots leading them down the merry way, convincing them that they're born in the wrong body or something weird. And so, we have devolved as a society. Okay. By around the 90s up to 2000, I think we're close to having it pretty much figured out. There was no wrong way to be a girl, no wrong way. You want to be a girl, you want to do construction, or a boy and design dresses, fine. We were there, and the legalization of gay marriage was kind of like the cherry on top. Now, boom, we're done. All right, we have accomplished it. But certain parties cannot sit still with that. The professionally outraged have to always have a cause. They got to make them up. And with the gay rights thing essentially declared victory, no, we can't have that. No, what's next? Okay, how about trans people? Yeah. And they realize that, well, actual trans people, there are very few of those, and they really don't want to be bothered. Okay, they're trying to go along with this, they're trying to fit in. That's why they do the whole transition. They don't want to stand out and go, but also most of them, they're not in any real illusion of what they actually are. In fact, Marcus Deeb, I love this kid. Lately, especially, we've been talking about how he admits biological woman, but had to go through all the procedures and stuff to try, to not, destroy something because he couldn't live with the body. But freely admits biological woman, doesn't really care about misgender him or not. I call him because he got the effort. He's earned it. But it's actually said that admitting he's a woman actually helped them feel like more of a man. Admitting the truth of what Marcus is. Stop lying to yourself. You are what you are. Has actually helped the mental state. And that's why I think it would actually help Indy to stop saying, I'm a guy. No, you're not. We have over 10 years of documentary proof you are not a guy by any stretch of the imagination. Like one post said, how is it that one tiny part of the brain can declare you're a man, but not an entire female body? So like, no, Indy, you do not have, I got a male brain. No, you don't. For all the discussions we had in DM, that is not a male brain thinking. That is a female brain start to finish. Because no guy thinks the way you do, Indy. No guy goes through that convoluted sense of logic. Guys are very single, direct, goal-oriented. And this is physiology. The female brain is very interconnected. Both hemispheres talk all the damn time. Male brains don't do that. We are geared to, as hunters and, they go out, find animal, kill animal, bring animal back, cook animal, see woman, zug, we're very goal oriented. Most guys don't just browse. I do a lot of browsing, just window shopping, because we grew up, we were rather poor. Frankly, looking back on it, we didn't have a lot of money, so they go into the mall is looking at browsing stuff is just entertainment, really. Seeing what's out there. And contending myself, they're probably never going to get this, but it's nice to look at it and play with it in the store, that sort of thing. Go around, flip through books in the store and put them back on the shelf. But it was, but most guys, you go to the store, get your thing and go the hell home. You don't wander around the thing just seeing what else is going. It's like, the men are the hunters, the women are the gatherers, They want to stand up between somebody, when men are, kind of a get together party thing with the guys, it's very much, everyone had their assigned tasks, It's like, one guy, he's in charge of the chips. This guy's in charge of this guy's in charge of the drinks. So, all right, what do you do? Well, I brought the chips. I brought the chicken. Well, I ate the chips. Okay, well, yeah, okay, I'll give you a point for even trying that. But women in the act, it's a collaborative thing. Okay, oh yeah, let's get this thing, fixing everything together and big old thing. And things happen when you throw a guy in there. And he tries to think, well, I brought the chips. You asshole. We do not think the same. We are not. If it was not for the reliability of each other for reproduction, we're two totally different species. Okay. And frankly, it's true against all living things. The male and the female species are vastly different. They're not built the same. They don't act the same. Body chemistry is completely different. No, we are not. So this whole thing, again, going back to John Money and his little research involving the Reimer twins. You look at the actual data from that, it proves the exact opposite. Because the little boy, little Bruce, they tried to turn into Brenda. And even after, because the result, part of the thing started as 2 kids and circumcision gone very bad. They had a little thing with kind of electrical thing to kind of burn a thing, or they'd set it wrong and they ended up burning off the kid's dick. So it was already mangled, but so this couple weren't exactly the brightest. They saw Money on like 60 Minutes, spouting his little idiotic theories, and thought, okay, he could help. He knows something about this. He's with Johns Hopkins and everything. I'm going to sue them to the dirt for this one. And he immediately, okay, castrate the child, raise him as a girl. He was only 2.5, so he couldn't get away with it. Well, even as a little toddler, insisted on peeing standing up. Lack of penis notwithstanding. And would not play with the dolls and did not like the dresses and would beat up the other kids. His classmates, labeled him the cave woman. He was not a happy tomboy. He was not a happy girl. But of course, Money's lying his ass off and is always perfectly adjusted. Well, young lady loves the dresses. No, exact opposite. In fact, it wasn't until years later when the things coming out, and of course, using Jane Doe, whatever, and figured, hey, he's talking about me. This is after around the age of 12, was, like I said, threatened to throw himself with a building. You can come near you. He brought in an adult trans. Oh, it'll be perfectly fine. No, not having any of it. Well, then finally, the dad took the kid out for ice cream and explained, okay, here's what happened. When you're a little baby, they screwed up we talked to this guy and he convinced us to do all this crap. And we're sorry. We shouldn't have done it. But and then they had one last, that's what they did, a phalloplasty and stuff, just to try and give them the sense, okay, this is what you should have different. Yeah, none of it works, but at least you got it. And got married, adopted her, the kids went and seemed to be doing okay. But like I said, other brother, a pair of twins. Perfect controlled experiment. Twin boys, but raised one of them as a girl. And unfortunately, some of the experiments involved taking the kids and get them in a room, get them naked, get them up to look at each other and simulate sex acts between the two of them, and bring in other colleagues to observe. Yeah, this was in the 70s. Okay, you'd think we'd be over this kind of thing, but no, this stuff was going on in the 70s, and they're not. And actually, and some of the rationales going on with the current thing with gender reassignment, it's about the same kind of rationales what went on with lobotomies. In fact, lobotomies probably had a better case, a better case to make, because you did get results. Yeah, they stick the tooth, the ice pick in there, swirl it around. Oh yeah, you got results all right because you're destroying part of the brain. And sometimes it worked. Most times it turned into vegetables, but sometimes it worked. At least they had some data to work with, and they sold that for a while. But otherwise, it's like there's going to be a lot of hell to pay when this thing finally blows up once and for all. And it's already half the states have banned gender transition for minors. Because finally, they know. No, it doesn't matter if they know or not. They are not legally allowed to consent to anything. And teachers trying to, teach kids to keep secrets from their parents need to be thrown out. And you are not to be trusted around children ever again. It's despicable what we are doing to this country and this world. And again, the rest of the world has already got him. Used to be, going to Sweden was a euphemism for going to get the sex change operation. They banned it. No, that's it. No. Tavistock Gender Clinic in Britain has been sued into oblivion. The one in Scotland is in the process of it. I know a couple of guys are doing it. Sinead and I think Richie's also doing it. They're getting a lawsuit on the same grounds. Like they lied to them, they manipulated them, took advantage of vulnerable individuals who were not equipped to deal with this crap. They had and again, run down the line. These people, no, they are not. They have, again, usually it's borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, all kinds of, autism is almost universally always there. They need proper therapy, not medical intervention. And they're saying a lot of things, and I'm being assured by a couple of detransitioners, just give her time. She'll figure it out. She'll come out of it. It's going to get old eventually. She'll figure out this ain't working. And it'll come to, no, you are in the end a girl. Always have been, always will be. Yeah. Open question whether or not I'll ever get an apology, but yeah. But that's pretty much it there. It's like, no, you're not getting, these people are playing on a lot of basic human needs, a need to belong, to believe in something bigger, that there's something going on. You have access to the secret knowledge that they don't. That's a big draw right there. That's where conspiracy theories come in. Oh, we know the truth. We know the real truth. What really happened. It's like, and fact is, real truth is usually a lot more mundane than what anybody these things are preaching. Like, no, Lee Harvey Oswald did act alone. They have they duplicated the magic bullet there. It's not magic. It's like certain, sometimes there is a very bad day where things line up for the bad guys. The Secret Service was not as adroit as they were now. This is, in fact, the assassination was why they got all tough. Back then, they were still kind of like, they got drunk the night before. They were partying, And again, there was like maybe the History Channel, again, where they also duplicated the magic bullet, but also they did the whole thing, every conspiracy theory down the line. So there's no way Oswald could have gotten from, because he was spotted downstairs and the thing and going on. There's no way he could have gotten it. And the start of the shots, they did, okay. All right, done a shot. Okay, hit the rifle, calmly walked downstairs to the break room. Hi, guys. And then out in the street. Within the time allotted of how long it would have taken. And it's only a six-story building. He wasn't dropping out from the World Trade Center. He was like 6 floors out, taking the stairs the whole way. And they know where other shooters were. Well, no, the grassy knoll doesn't quite work. It went a great spot. Problem is there are people all around there. Nobody reported hearing shots from the grassy knoll. Every shot they heard was coming back from the 6th floor deposit. In fact, a couple of guys were down the 5th floor, and they heard the shot. They heard the shell casings in the floor. And when people looked, hey, up there, he's right above us. And also, and again, there's a Zapruder film. Nobody's reacting to shots coming from behind. They're all going up top. And again, there's people all around there. Someone would have heard a shot coming right over their head. And they also said, well, how about the train tracks? Again, there were plenty of people on there, and there's no cover. There's no way somebody would have pulled out a rifle, sort of picking up shots without somebody. Hey, what are you doing? There's one crackpot there. So, in the sewer hole comes right there. You couldn't even see. You can't see it. They put a guy down there. Yeah, they might be able to shoot somebody in the ankle. Anyhow, well, look at the thing. Yeah, that's what happened. Again, that's what they see in the autopsy photos. Little bitty bullet hole in the back and big hole in, because that's what happens. The brain is a pressurized thing. And so, he boom, and it tends to pop like a balloon, Anyhow, yeah, because they flopped everything back in place for the photos. But there's a big hole, in the front of his head. That was the kill shot. And the magic bullet, yeah, they lined everything up. And again, looking at how Connolly and Kennedy were actually sitting in the limo. They weren't lined up back, or a little off to the side here and there. And so they set up a sniper's nest of the exact height, set it up there, and just about duplicated it. The bullet came out actually a little bit better than the actual bullet. So no, they pretty much confirmed everything. And the way the Warren Commission went about it may have been a little sloppy, but they essentially came to the right conclusion. But that's conspiracy theories, Now it's a conspiracy theory to believe that Oswald acted alone. That's how crazy things have gotten. You're considered a nutcase if you don't think, that there was a second shooter. And now just simply arguing for basic, observable, scientific reality. No, kids are not a trans kid. Blair White said, a trans kid is like a vegetarian cat. We know who's making the choice here. And it ain't the cat, Listen, we've all gone, just think back to when you're a kid. A little play acting here and there. You think next week, I'm a pirate. They go around, acting like you got a peg leg and throw an eye patch on and I'm gonna claim your booty and you're stealing your sister's cookies, everything, Or you want to be a Ninja Turtle, and you went to toys of the store and you started, attacking the neighbor's dog, And sometimes in high school. Of course, I get the jelly babies at the time with gummy bears. I even had a scarf on that. My long coat, Matter of fact, it was already spring and hotter than hell. We all go through this, trying to figure out, what works for it, This looks like a fun thing. Then let's see how this fits out for a while, But one thing I think is that the movie Inside Out might be a good analogy, but others, like if you like The Big Bang Theory, whenever they would show inside Sheldon's mind and a meeting of the Council of Sheldons. And it was like a whole meeting, all the different aspects of Sheldon's personality. You had, slacker Sheldon over here. You got, Vulcan Sheldon, and all the people trying to, come to consent. Okay, what do we do about this situation here? And that's, I think I've had that theory about, my mind. I was like, there's all kinds of different aspects here. One of them, sure, and it's just a matter of which one do you put in charge at a given moment to take a situation. And we've all got various, and again, if you really analyze yourself, everyone's got a male and a female part of personality. It's a matter of how much control do you give them at a given time. So does Indy have a male personality type? Yeah, to a certain extent. Same way I got a female personality buried in there. But I also know it's like there's no way in hell that I would transition. Because there's just too much, things you'd have to do it on a chromosomal level and all kinds of physical transformation. And still, I'd look hideous. Okay, I would not make a good-looking girl. Okay, not really. My bone structure is such. Nope, doesn't work. Okay. They'd have to go through. You know, I'd have to go through a whole transporter accident type of thing to do the full physiological transformation, totally different bone structure and stuff. You know, in order to even halfway be satisfied with a transition type thing. But I can certainly see the appeal in certain situations. But also it's going back to the way men and women, where their brains operate. Women, it's generally a little more pliable. Easier to go through a big, long, convoluted chain of logic to come to conclusion. Men are very simple. Okay. But also in the sense that we're a little more rigid, and that when things break down, we break. There's a lot harder putting things back together when we snap. Okay. And that's why a lot of times, we're a little more dangerous when things go bad. That's why a lot, we start going off the rails. You guys are just going to take us out. Okay. Like, no, that's it. Rabid dog with a head full of bad wiring. You're going down, I think that's also why, the male trans thing. One, legitimately, I think the ones who are legitimately thinking there's a bunch of confused kids who have gotten it fair, but the older ones are like, no, you're a bunch of fucking predators. You just want an excuse to go into the women's room and see some girl, and catch some girls when they're vulnerable. Okay, you want to, you'll walk in the ladies' locker room and see them naked. Say, no, I want to. Your hairy ass with a big dick. No, you're not. Get the hell out. Yeah. Like I said, the movement is in its death throes, which is why they're getting a little wacky. The stuff they're throwing at Prisha Mosley is downright criminal, I think. Like one, she's very pregnant. You have to go through a C-section because the vaginal delivery is out of the question. You rip her in half if you even try that. So it's already far conclusion. Yeah, it'll be a C-section. But still, healthy baby. She's over the world happy. Because remember, she was despairing whether she'd ever have a period again. So it was like going, over the moon just to even have something was in that period. And ironically, when the doctor put her on birth control pills, that balanced out her hormones. Now she actually got pregnant. She's gonna have a baby, a little baby boy. But one dumb fuck, oh, she's ugly fuck, she's gonna have an abortion. I'm reporting his ass. Like, don't even know, asshole. But yeah, it's just why are we here? It's going to be a while just trying to accept this. How the hell did we get to this point where we really are quite literally sacrificing our children over again? What boils down to is a thoroughly, unabashedly misogynistic, homophobic philosophy. This whole thing has turned me into an old school, women's rights and gay rights activists. No, we're degrading people's rights for the sake of a bunch of pervert men who want to go into the ladies' locker room and catch a free one. It's like, this idiot swimmer. I think I'm not even remember his name anymore. But how many, I think they finally got to stripping him of his titles, giving back all the medals. Riley Gaines is a folk hero now for standing up to this idiot. And kudos to the women's Olympic swim team, who said if they even try and get a male swimmer and they're trans swimmer in there, they'll quit. They will not compete with him. It's like, no, we can do this on our own. We don't need a ringer. Leah Thomas, that moron. When it was Bill Thomas as a male swimmer, he was like 430th ranked. But he showed, nice way. Mediocre male wrestling, declare yourself a woman. You'll clean them up. You'll blow past these girls in no time, yeah. And some of these idiot, athletic directors and coaches, they want those trophies so bad. They don't give a rat's ass so they, stick a guy in there on the girls thing. So that's what's driving that one. They want those trophies. They don't give a shit how they get them. They don't give a shit how many girls lose out on a scholarship or awards, whatever, because they want to get a guy to get a trophy. No matter of fact, these girls have been working their asses off since they were in kindergarten trying to get to this level, and then some guy comes in and he's like, so this whole thing, it goes beyond the medical thing. It's just going to be a whole societal thing. It's going to be, oh. And again, we can pull another, analogy back to season 3 of Picard. All the younger people in Starfleet have been infected by what is it? A social contagion by the Borg. Anyone who's been to the trend, they've been infected, and now they're drones. And it's up to the old guys and a non-networked museum piece of a ship that's been pieced together from other pieces of ships to come in and save the day. Originally, I thought that was they really no, it was intentional. It's taking a direct shot at what's going on in society, and that's what Star Trek does. That's proper Star. And that's why I don't give a shit what Doomcracker says. Oh, it's all Trek. No, season 3 is proper Star Trek. It did what proper Star Trek does. It puts a mirror to society and say, no, you're being idiots. And this is why. But it's also different because again, this is dream is not conscious, so it's going to wander. But Terry Matalas worked on old school proper Star Trek. He started working. He worked on DS9. He's in the post production. He was Brandon Braga's assistant with Voyager, and then worked and did stuff with Enterprise. He's worked on proper Star Trek. He knows how proper Star Trek is made. That's the one case of institutional knowledge left in the whole freaking franchise when they brought in Terry Matalas. Because every other idiot they've got working over there has no fucking clue how they made Star Trek, how they made it to work. And they're fine. And again, you got season 3 of Picard, and you got Lower Decks, and you got Prodigy. And Lower Decks and Prodigy, one, they had because these are the two. Alex Kurtzman has nothing to do with the animated show. All he does is get a check. And Mike McMahon said they don't get notes. You get a few questions once in a while from Kurtzman, but no notes. Nobody tells them how to do their show. They do it. The Hangman Brothers and McMahon, they run their shows the way they see, and they work because they know how it works. And he worked enough on Rick and Morty, and it's just he knows how to work a show. And Rick and Morty, it's a very surreal show. So you're shooting a little higher above than say SpongeBob SquarePants, even SpongeBob. But you're going to a pretty savvy crowd, really, because they get some pretty heady concepts in that show and put a comedic twist on them. And so that's what they did with Lower Decks. And he said in the mission statement for Lower Decks, it's just going to be a proper Star Trek show. It's going to be funny. But it's going to be alongside and fit in with the established canon and everything, and it's going to be a proper Star Trek show. And I think they've succeeded. Yeah, there's a lot of references because the people. Again, think about it. These are people who joined Starfleet because of the legend of Picard and Kirk and all these stories, and I want to be a part of that. And they joined. I'm thinking they're not quite up to snuff of the thing. So, but they do find a home in in the support fleet with the California class ships. You're not going to go on the frontline ships like the Enterprise and the Titan and anything, but no, you still got a home for you. You got a job for you to do, and you still got to be trained and possibly get out there and deal with things, but you're not going to be the first ones. Okay. The odds of you coming across things are a lot less than the ships that are really going out to unknown territory. But you'll be trained. Don't worry. We're not going to totally blow you off. And if little patience with Lower Decks, it does reveal, no, Burnham is not just a screw up. There's a reason why she is the way she is. And they finally get to it. It's like, yeah, and it does basically make the show Lower Decks a direct sequel to the episode Lower Decks on Next Generation, because it ties into Ensign Sito. She got in the Enterprise and got killed during that mission. And that her death on that mission is what sent Burnham into a tailspin, because she knew her at the Academy. She was an underclassman. Sito was a senior. But considering what happened to to them, they got an extra year because they had to repeat a year. Locarno got booted. But this is also where all those deep cuts serve a purpose. They're not just thrown out. Like Strange New Worlds would have done much better. You want an alien? Don't call them the Gorn. They have totally eviscerated the Gorn as a serious species. They turned them into the Xenomorphs from Alien. And instead of every other character being a retread of someone from the original series, and totally ignoring what was established on there. Where's Jose Tyler? Where's Philip Boyce? We knew they were on the ship when Pike was in command. Where are they? No, we bring in Mbenga. I kind of got the impression with Private Little War, Mbenga was fairly new to the ship at that point. But no, we're going to make him chief medical officer before McCoy. Now we got Scotty coming in where he doesn't really, no, I think, it's like they don't, Bone, okay, we're doing a thing. It's like they're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks and ignoring the fact that none of it sticks. They're pretending the floor is the wall. See, there it is. It's not going because it's the floor. But it's just like, what? It's it's another case of they're only with Discovery. It only lasted 5 years because they were contractually obligated. They got a 5-year guarantee in that contract, and then once that 5 years up, I thought you're done. Shocked the hell out of the cast. They thought they were doing great. What do you mean no, you're done. We're through bleeding money on over you guys. And with Strange New Worlds, well, they got to justify the cost of those sets. And that whole thing, and which means they're going to have to churn out a few years just to justify that, so they can do a proper, tax write-off or whatever on the expense report. But I am heartened by the efforts to try and get Lower Decks picked up by, say, Netflix or Amazon. At this point, I think Amazon is probably the better bet. That's just my gut thing, but because they've already got Prodigy, yeah, we'll throw on Lower Decks too. Why not? So we can keep that, because got the shows like they're in that prematurely, but also because it is an animated show, and you don't have the overhead of bringing people in all the time and building for sets and cameras and all stuff. I think it'd be easier to fire that back up. It's not a cheap show, but it's hell of a lot cheaper than Strange New Worlds. And I don't see Strange New Worlds going more than another year, frankly, because it's a half-assed attempt at the original series, but it's like it doesn't line up at all. They deliberately made a mess of the timeline. Well, we need to try and make it more like our history. No, you don't. It never was. Yeah, Akiva Goldsman's the fucking hack. But this is where we're at. We're raising a son. There's no respect for the for history or previously established lore, or even just basic scientific observable reality. No, you're not a boy. I've got hours of naked video, you Indy. You're not a boy. Okay. I got one of them where you complain about your therapist not helping you out, and then saying you don't blame your gender. Well, now you totally disavow your gender. Where the hell did you go from that to this? Okay. Yeah, the whole thing prompted me of that Batman Harley, thing I found on Pinterest with no captions. Like, okay, I can use this though. So I got on there and it's like, because that should, strike a chord if it got dirty up by now, because Indy's done a cosplay of Harley time to time. So I think it should be on. Yes, so we're talking to you, and she she prefers Batman. Her mom's a big Superman fan, but she can't stand Superman, but she likes Batman. So hey, hi. So that whole thing about go and no, not the fire program. I'm not going to do that. But just have confrontation. The Harley. Well, that's it. Definitely no choice. You're gonna stop bugging me about big brother girls, and you're smart enough to figure this out on your own. If you just pull your head out long enough to do it. Like I've given you all the information you need, and then some. It's all on you now. So let me know when you're tired of living in Arkham with the crazies. I'll be waiting. But I just had to get these thoughts out there. Like anyone who says you're being an transphobic. One, the term means nothing anymore. Anything they don't like is transphobic. But frankly, considering the number of shootings and other things that are perpetrated by supposed trans people, being a transphobe is not a dumb thing. It's actually pretty damn smart. They've given us reason to be afraid. Okay? It's like for being such a tiny part of this population, they sure are a large percentage of the number of violent shootings that have been happening lately. Although bring in those Palestinian refugees and you'll see that changed quite a bit. But Britain is already breaking up terrorist plots left and right because of all the people they brought in. Expect things to get very, very turbulent in Britain fairly soon. The Irish are already, about ready to throw them out themselves, not even wait for the government. But yeah, again, I've been assured, give Indy time, she'll figure it out on herself. Figure it out on her own. The only concern is she gonna do something stupid and irreversible in the meantime? And I have reason to believe she won't, if only because her own personal anxieties would be such that it'll keep her from doing anything. Because pushing things off, push out eventually, this is not working anyway. Talking about, the boyfriend, what time is going to realize, going to kick in that you're still the girlfriend. Doesn't matter that plastic dick you stick in your pants and keep your hair short. You're still just acting as the girlfriend. Who's doing the cooking? Who's the one waiting at home? And you're still being the girl. You're still being the good little woman at home. And the hell of it is, it's your home. It's your apartment. You're paying for the thing. He's not. He's the fucking freeloader, frankly. If he's chipping in, great. But it's your apartment. You've been there for years. You're the one being the sugar mama in this case. Which also brings the thing: as much money as you've racked up, and over in the number you've been, why haven't you got a house? For God's sakes, enough of the rent. Get a house, get big fences. The place you were in was real nice. Mm-hmm. like just. But yeah, I think we're starting to run aground here on this one. So links down below. You want to try and support this channel and doing things and. Like I said, right now a lot of it, partially, getting content up. And again, the girl video fund on any site is just about $3,800 now, very close to it. There's only like a little over $1,200 to go to get that girl video. And there's no backing off on that one. She got on there, $5,000. She does a pure girl video. So there's no backing off of that one there. So you want, another little thing I was showing how much we want girl indie, the real indie, the one you're trying to deny. This is a chance to put your money where your mouth is, contribute. And I'll throw that link in there later. But again, hopefully, if upon the advice of counsel, she has sidelined her idiots, then now is the time to really start love bombing the other direction. Say, no, you are a girl, and we love you for being a girl. You're one of the smartest girls I know around here. You're not gaining anything by trying to claim yourself to be a boy, because actually, you're not being a boy. You just don't want to be a girl anymore. Because you're not being a boy. Trust me. I've been there. I've been a boy all my life. You ain't it. Okay. Takes one to know one, and you ain't one. Okay. As much as you wish you were. Okay. Yeah, and wishes for horses. We'd all be driving the Clydes, driving the Budweiser wagon. But no, it doesn't work that way. You can be any kind of girl you want, but you're kind of stuck being a girl. Yeah, I'm not pushing for anything while you want no, be whatever kind of girl you want. Shave your head, dress like a lumberjack. Just accept the pure, simple reality. You are a woman. You're pushing 30. Okay, that's another thing. It's getting a little old to be following this line of reasoning here. And again, I got limited room to talk myself. I'm pushing 60, and look at my place here. I got piles of models over here trying to do a whole. I got enough phasers and communicators out. Let a couple landing parties. But I just went through the buying, replacing the and got batteries for my phaser. Is getting my gaming computer back up and running. Okay. But I'm also a point where it's like, I'm trying to get some gaming streams going up. So there is a little bit of, financial incentive there, but it's still, I'm trying to get back to be playing video games. So again, it's a little bit of pot calling kettle black here, but I am under no illusions of what I am. I mean, it's a comparison, and it also breaks down, how male and female puberty works. Male puberty is a walk in the park by comparison. I admit that right now. My thought process have not changed since I was 10, I don't think. Male puberty only does we get bigger, hairier, and then sex drive kicks on. But other than that, we're still the same idiots we were in grade school. With women, it is a fundamental metamorphosis. Between the physical changes and the hormonal thing and everything else, I think it'd be hard pressed to find someone who thinks and acts the same way they, at 30 as they did when they were 13 or 12. Now again, in Indy's case, the shit she has been through interrupted all of that. So I'm not saying this is normal by any stretch of the imagination. What she underwent, screwed up all kinds of things, and has made her vulnerable to a lot of stuff. But I think also there's a lot of malpractice on this of her, again, her own team of therapists. I think she needs to fire her team of therapists because they're going along and buying the fact that she self-diagnosed herself as trans. What other field of medicine does that allow? You know, if they had followed that, if they've been allowed, if I've been allowed to follow that route in '94, when I thought I had some kind of blockage on there, I'd be dead right now because they would have been doing things. Meanwhile, my appendix had ruptured and was, eating up my intestines for the, whole thing. Ow. So it's a case of, thank God the doctors didn't listen to me, did not take my word for it, and actually, did a proper examination. Oh yeah, you ruptured appendix. We're going to do a surgery. Now, why, the psychiatrists and psychologists think that, okay, you're trans, you're trans. We need a few more of these. No, you're not. Okay. And in this case, we got, you were diagnosed with this, this, and this back when you're a teenager. You're still diagnosed with this, and this. So no, you are not trans. Your borderline personality has crossed the border, and we need to do something about it. And I think there's still some underlying trauma that has not been properly dealt with. Because you mentioned something when she was little. She doesn't like think about its triggers so badly, even though she also tried to bullies. It's not that traumatic. So no, let's deal with this. Because this is probably the linchpin to the entire shit show right here. This one thing you are avoiding, that is probably ground zero of what started the whole thing in motion. And normally you probably would have gotten over by the time you were 10, but then middle school happened and the grooming, and that goes that idea. But that still doesn't mean you don't have to deal with whatever happened back then. And I threw it out to her parents. If you had any ideas what happened to her back then, it would probably help. Because they may not even know themselves or be fully aware of just what kind of impact whatever did happen had to her. Oh. And again, hopefully I've thrown enough seeds off in that direction that will produce some fruit. And again, part of my own little frustration here is the fact that I have probably planted more than enough seeds in various locations that someone is going to be able to step in and point out, no, Indy, playtime is over. Okay. Time to get back to reality. And tell your idiot therapists to go get themselves stuffed because they apparently bought in to this whole WPATH line of thinking that, if they say they're trans, they're trans. No, they're not. Okay. It's a cultural fad. Okay. With some rather horrible underpinnings. And the sooner it gets blown up once and for all, the better. So I think that'll start enough fights for now. So we will end it right there. And we'll talk at you.